Have you ever felt a phone call rip open a wound you thought had healed years ago? 6 months ago, my mother's voice did just that, shattering a decade of silence with a single, cutting ultimatum. If you don't come home for your brother's engagement party, never call me Mom again. Those were her last words before she hung up, leaving me frozen, the weight of her demand sinking in. I was always the invisible child, the one brushed aside because I wasn't the family's shining star, like my brother, James. They still see me as the failure, the disappointment who never measured up. But they're wrong. I'm going back. Not to celebrate, but to see if 10 years of absence has changed them at all. Follow my story, and please, share your thoughts or advice. I'd love to hear them. My name's Noah, 28 years old, a software engineer and co-founder of a fintech startup based in Seattle. Life's been steady, a modest apartment, a demanding job that keeps me sharp, and quiet evenings I've come to treasure. I don't have many close friends, and I haven't spoken to my family in 10 years, not since I walked away from the house I once called home. In all that time, not one of them reached out, not a single call, text, or letter. That changed with Mom's call, her voice urgent, insisting I attend James's engagement party. One sentence, but I knew this wasn't a simple family gathering. I was right. It was a Friday afternoon, and I'd just wrapped up a virtual meeting with a partner in Singapore. I was still at my desk, winding down, when my phone rang. An unknown number. I frowned, ready to let it go to voicemail, but something nudged me to answer. The voice on the other end stopped me cold. "It's me," my mother said quickly, as if scared I'd hang up. "I had to use a new number. You probably blocked my old one." I stayed silent. She was right. I had blocked it years ago. After some stiff small talk, "How's Seattle? Must be cold this time of year." She cut to the chase. "Your brother's getting engaged. The party's in 2 weeks. The whole family's coming. You have to be there." I leaned back in my chair, keeping my voice calm. "I'm swamped, Mom. We're in the final stretch of a big project. It'll be hard to make time." The silence on her end was heavy, like a storm gathering. Then her tone turned sharp, cold, final. "If you don't come home for your brother's engagement party, never call me Mom again." Click. She hung up, leaving no chance for a response. I gripped my phone tightly, her words ringing in my ears. After 10 years of nothing, this was her opening move, an ultimatum. Show up or be erased from whatever family I still belonged to. I stood, left the office, and drove home under Seattle's overcast sky, the gray clouds mirroring my mood. Waited, uncertain, swirling with doubt. My apartment, bought 4 years ago with my first earnings from coding, is my true home, not the house I grew up in. No one helped me build this life. No encouragement, no support, just my own grit. I stepped into the kitchen, turned on the kettle, and brewed a strong cup of black coffee. I needed clarity because deep down I knew I was stepping back into a game my family had set in motion long ago. 10 years feels like forever, but the past plays in my mind like it was yesterday. I remember what it was like to be invisible, a shadow in my own home. As a kid, I believed if I tried hard enough, my parents would finally see me. But the older I got, the clearer it became. In our family, I was always second to James, my brother, 2 years older and the center of their universe. James was the golden child. His childish drawings were framed like masterpieces. My second-place finish in a district math competition got a half smile and a hushed, "That's nice, Noah, but don't tell James. It might upset him." At 11, I won a handwriting contest and rushed home, bursting with pride, only to find the family throwing a backyard barbecue for James's spot on a casual soccer team. No one asked about my day. On my 13th birthday, All I wanted was a bike to stop walking to school. 3 years of early morning treks. Instead, James got a new baseball bat, and I got a backpack meant for a fifth grader. I learned early. Peace in that house meant erasing myself, staying quiet, and letting James shine. Everything I had was whatever was left after he got his share. At 18, I earned a full-ride scholarship to MIT, the school I'd dreamed of since middle school. I was shaking when I opened the acceptance letter, my heart swelling with hope that this time they'd be proud. But when I showed Mom, she paused and said softly, "MIT's so far, sweetheart. If you go, James will feel sad." Days later, my parents called me into the living room. Dad's face was stern. "James didn't get into his dream school. He's struggling. Pick a school nearby so you can stay close." I pushed back, my voice trembling. "It's a full scholarship, MIT. I've worked for this my whole life." Mom placed a hand on my shoulder, her tone gentle but unyielding. "You're smart, Noah. We know that. But don't make James feel left behind. He's sensitive. It'll throw off the family's balance." I nodded on the outside, but inside, I was done. I secretly completed MIT's paperwork, packed my bags, and forged an acceptance letter from a local college to keep them off my trail. The day they thought I was enrolling nearby, I boarded a flight to Boston, carrying one thing: the determination to rewrite my life on my terms. MIT's campus was old but warm, my first taste of freedom. But the next day, Mom called, her voice shaking with rage. "You think you're something special, Noah, sneaking off to MIT? You did this to humiliate James. He's devastated." I stayed silent, trying to keep calm, but she wasn't finished. "This family doesn't need a selfish child like you. Not 1 cent from us, you hear me?" She hung up. I stared at my phone, my chest heavy as stone. Then, with steady hands, I blocked every family number. Mom, Dad, James. No anger, no tears, just a quiet decision to cut ties with people who only saw me as a shadow meant to prop up James's light. My 4 years at MIT were the hardest I've lived, but also the most defining. No financial support, no safety net, just me. By day, I tackled lectures, labs, and problem sets that broke weaker students. By night, I worked, library shifts, bussing tables at a campus diner. Some months, I stretched $150 for food, learning to make a cup of coffee last 2 sittings. Loneliness settled in during long, snowy nights when my roommate went home for holidays and I stayed, typing papers to the howl of wind outside my window. But I never complained. True freedom isn't free. It's earned. Graduation day came, and I stood on MIT's stage, gripping my degree with honors. My name echoed in the grand hall, but no family cheered. Alone in my cap and gown, I stood in the vast campus courtyard, holding my diploma like it carried every ounce of those grueling years. I wasn't proud for them. I was proud for me. I didn't come this far to prove myself to my family. I did it to prove I deserved a life I chose. Now, 10 years later, I'm CEO and co-founder of a tech company specializing in AI for finance, valued at over $50 million. My annual income is 7 figures. My Seattle home is simple but warm, every inch built by my hands. I kept my old phone number, not out of nostalgia, but as a soft boundary, a faded wall between me and them. I don't share my successes, awards, certifications, a Forbes 30 under 30 feature, because I know, to them, James will always be the only one worth celebrating. But Mom's call changed things. I'm returning, not to reclaim their love, but to play the invisible brother one last time and let them see the son they never truly knew. 2 weeks later, I landed at JFK after a short flight. New York greeted me with a gray sky and a sharp fall chill. A taxi took me to the house I'd left 10 years ago without looking back. No one texted or called to check if I'd arrived. The house looked the same, but it no longer felt like home. I rang the doorbell. Mom opened the door, her eyes pausing on me for a split second before settling into a calm, unreadable expression. No welcome home, no hug, just a sharp command. "So, you finally showed up. There's a lot to do. Come in and help." Before I could process her words, Dad appeared, handing me a paper scrawled with tasks. "Finish these before the party. Time's tight." I took the paper and nodded. No complaints. I was ready for this. Then James walked down the stairs, pressed shirt, hair slicked, eyes sliding past me like I was a stranger. "Let's hope you don't screw this up," he said, voice calm but biting. I gave a faint smile and a simple nod. That afternoon, relatives arrived to help with decorations. Some offered polite nods. Others said, "Noah, right? You look different," before swiftly turning the talk to James. "He's a senior manager now, pulling in $120,000 a year." An aunt I barely knew chimed in. "And his fiancée? A brilliant investor, sharp as a tack. Noah, you should learn from your brother." I smiled, arranging bouquets, unnoticed as always. That evening, the family gathered for a cozy pre-party dinner. The table was beautifully set, soft yellow lighting casting a warm glow, but the warmth was superficial. James's fiancée, Claire, arrived on time, her modest yet elegant dress striking a perfect balance of class and confidence. She was poised, her half-smile gliding from person to person like a practiced dance. James stood, beaming, and pulled out her chair like he was presenting a prize. "Noah, this is Claire, my future wife," he said proudly. "She's an investor specializing in personal and business financial consulting." Claire tilted her head politely, her eyes scanning me with subtle curiosity. "Good to finally meet you. James has told me about his little brother." I gave a faint smile. "Funny, I haven't heard much about you." The air tightened for a moment, but dinner resumed as if nothing happened. Halfway through the meal, Claire began talking about her work, her voice light and breezy. "The market's been unpredictable, but there's solid profit with the right cash flow approach. I'm managing a private fund, invitation only, for those with long-term vision." She tossed out terms like profit optimization, internal networks, and exclusive capital sourcing. The longer she spoke, the more familiar it felt. Not the words of a seasoned investor, but decorative jargon meant to impress. I glanced at James, wide-eyed, hanging on her every word like she was unveiling the secrets of wealth. Something about Claire's face, her polished delivery, nagged at me. Then it hit me. A year ago, my friend Ethan, a fintech co-founder, was scammed by a so-called investment advisor at a conference. She'd pitched a joint venture, pocketed $50,000, and vanished. Ethan sent me her photo. Same face, same calculated smile, though she'd used the name Ellen then. I kept my expression neutral, waiting until Claire finished her slick pitch about private funds and exclusive opportunities. Smiling casually, I asked, "Do you use LinkedIn or Twitter? I'm in finance. Maybe we share connections." She gave her handle. I skimmed her profile, took a screenshot of her picture, and texted Ethan. "Is this her?" Less than a minute later, his reply lit up. 100%, that's her." My grip tightened on the phone. The dinner carried on, cheerful and clueless, but inside, I was ready. The battle had begun. As Claire wrapped up her flawless performance, full of elegant buzzwords about markets and visionary investments, the table erupted in approval. Relatives nodded, clearly impressed. An uncle blurted, "This girl's sharp, she knows her stuff. James picked a winner." Mom, perhaps wanting to bask in the glow, spoke up, her voice laced with pride. Claire is incredibly trustworthy. The whole family believes in her. We even mortgaged the house, got $400,000 to invest in her plan. A small gasp rippled around the table, but she wasn't done. James invested all his savings too, almost $200,000. But it's no big deal. We'll make it back in 6 months, doubled even. All eyes turned to Claire, who smiled confidently, folding her hands like she'd delivered a sacred promise. That's right. 6 months is the turnaround, minimum 200% return. I've run this model multiple times with a risk control team in place. Everyone can relax. That's when I felt heat rise in my face. $400,000 from a house mortgage, $200,000 in life savings, all handed to someone I knew, without a doubt, was a con artist. I couldn't let them walk off a cliff. I set my glass down, locked eyes with Claire, and said her old name, Ellen Carter. The table froze. Her eyes widened for a split second, a flicker of panic before she hit it. I repeated, louder, more deliberate. You used that name and disappeared with $50,000 from a fintech startup in Boston. Am I wrong? Silence fell like a curtain. The admiration in everyone's eyes vanished, replaced by confusion and suspicion. No one was eating now. Claire's hands, once steady, dropped to her lap. She froze for a beat, then composed herself, offering a soft smile. Noah, I think you've got the wrong person. I've never used that name. You're probably confusing me with someone who looks like me. I didn't flinch, my gaze unwavering. No, I'm not confused. I also know you faked a marriage in Boston to steal assets. I can call the police now if you'd prefer to handle this legally. The room went still. Claire's face paled, her smile gone. I tilted my head, my voice calm, like I was reading a contract. If you're innocent, you've got nothing to worry about. Hire a lawyer. Sue me for defamation. I'd be happy to meet you in court. James shot up, his palms slamming the table, face red with rage. You're just trying to ruin this. Jealous no one cares about you anymore. Dad nearly shouted. That's enough, Noah. You're humiliating this entire family. Mom stood, pointing, her voice trembling with fury. I have no son like you. Get out of this house, now. I stood still, sweeping my eyes around the room. Every face turned away. No support, no questions. I nodded, no anger, just a quiet resolve. All right, but remember this. I warned you. If you get scammed, don't come running to me. I'm not responsible for other people's stupidity. Uncle Tom, always quick to judge, sneered. Jealous? If you were doing so well, you wouldn't need to stand here proving it. I reached into my coat, pulled out a matte black business card embossed in silver, and placed it gently on the table where all could see. Look it up. Company names at the top. Google it. Check the About Us section. Founder and CEO. Or search my name in Forbes 30 Under 30 last year. I didn't wait for reactions. I didn't need applause or validation. I opened the door and walked out, a soft, liberating smile on my face, leaving behind a house that was no longer home. With no flights available, I booked a 4-star hotel room in Manhattan's heart. The quiet, tasteful room felt earned. Not flashy, but mine because I could afford it, because I deserved it. Sitting by the window, watching the city's glowing lights and endless stream of people, I didn't feel angry, just empty. A quiet ache without a name, even after they'd kicked me out, humiliated me. A small part of me, the boy who once dreamed of a normal family, felt a twinge of sadness. My phone rang. Mom, then James. I let it ring. Messages poured in. Mom's tone was soft now, emotional. I didn't mean what I said. I was too worked up. I've always loved you, Noah, just in my own way. Family's family. You'll always have a place here. James admitted, maybe you're right about Claire. We'll look into it. Then his tone warmed, almost proud. You're impressive, man. My friends talked about your business card like it's a golden ticket. Proud to have a brother like you. Mom messaged again, urging me to attend the morning's engagement ceremony to keep the peace, saying my success meant I didn't need to hold grudges. Not one message said, we were wrong. No apologies for the insults, for throwing me out like garbage, just sweetened words, carefully chosen now that they saw my worth. I turned off the screen, placed the phone face down, pulled the blanket over me, and slept, light and unburdened. The next morning, soft sunlight slipped through the hotel's sheer curtains. I woke later than usual, made a slow cup of coffee, and sat by the 15th floor window, watching the city come alive below. Not once did I consider attending the ceremony. Their pleas weren't about love. They were about my value now that I had something they wanted. Messages started again at 10, but these weren't sweet. They were panicked. Mom. Noah, Claire's gone. So is the money. James is having a breakdown. Your father's sick. Please come home. Help us. I closed my eyes for a moment. It was exactly as I'd warned, exactly what I'd seen coming. They didn't listen. I picked up my phone and typed one reply. I've booked a flight. I leave for Seattle at 2 this afternoon. No comfort, no promises of return. I'd warned them, and now I was walking away, just like I did 10 years ago. A week later, life settled back into its rhythm. I was in my office on the 18th floor of our company's headquarters, a space built from years of sleepless nights and relentless work. The screen glowed with live market data, numbers cascading as I led an internal strategy meeting. The desk phone rang. The receptionist, her voice soft but unsure. Mr. Noah, 3 people are in the lobby. They say they're your parents and brother. They'd like to see you. I froze for a moment. I'd expected this when Claire vanished with their money, when the truth hit them, when they realized I wasn't sabotaging, but warning. It was only a matter of time. I could have said no, had them sent away, but I knew they'd keep coming, today, tomorrow, at my apartment, somewhere else. I sighed, set my pen down, and replied, "Send them to conference room 18, 5 minutes." I stood, walked to the restroom, and checked myself in the mirror. I straightened my tie, smoothed my suit cuffs, not for them, but to show who I'd become, the man they'd cast aside, now standing in a place they never imagined I could reach. In the sleek conference room, they waited. Dad sat at the table's head, his stern expression softer now, eyes betraying something new. Mom stood first, forcing a trembling smile, hands unsteady as if she might step forward. James stood by the window, hands in pockets, turning as I entered. I pulled out a chair, sat, and nodded for them to speak, saying nothing. Mom glanced around, her eyes flickering with awe at the modern interior. "Your office? It's impressive, Noah. I've never seen a company this elegant." Dad cleared his throat, nodding slowly, eyeing the wall displays. "I must admit, you've done more than I expected. This isn't something just anyone can build." James gave a half smirk, half laugh. "CEO, huh? At first, I thought all that online stuff was exaggerated." I sat silent, fingers loosely intertwined, watching them like I was hearing a routine report. They kept going. Mom sat, her eyes softer, pleading. "No matter what I said back then, deep down, I always believed you'd make it. I'm proud of you, Noah, truly." Dad's voice was low, trying for sincerity. "Maybe we were too rigid, but seeing you now, how far you've come, I'm proud." I offered a faint smile, no joy, no forgiveness, just peace. I didn't need to prove anything anymore. After their polished compliments, I leaned back, arms crossed, and cut in calmly. All right, let's get to the point. They froze, the air shifting like something fragile had cracked. Their masks began to slip. Dad spoke first, his voice stripped of pride. The house, it's about to be repossessed. Everything we mortgaged, $400,000, is gone. James jumped in, no longer upbeat. My $200,000, wiped out. I've got nothing left. I need to start over. Mom placed her hand on the table, eyes meeting mine. Our family needs you, Noah. You're the successful one. You could buy back the house, keep your father and me off the street, maybe help James, just enough to get back on his feet. I raised an eyebrow, tone steady. How do you want me to help? Dad didn't blink. Buy back the house. Support us with $2,000 a month. Consider it repayment for raising you. For James, give him $300,000 to start fresh, or a small share in your company. I laughed, not politely, but raw, unfiltered, the kind that burned with years of buried irony. I pulled my phone from my suit pocket, eyes locked on theirs, and tapped a familiar name. Before the second ring, I spoke, "Bring him in." The door opened. A tall man in a black suit stepped in, leather folder in hand, face blank, eyes sharp. Mr. Bennett, my legal counsel. He scanned the room and nodded to me. I turned to my family, their faces shifting to dread. When the front desk said you were here, I called my lawyer, I said, voice flat and cold. I had a feeling this wasn't about apologies. You came for money. Mr. Bennett stepped beside me, folder closed. He didn't need to open it. His presence spoke volumes. He addressed them, voice crisp, the kind used to shut down opportunists. My client, Mr. Noah Adams, holds no legal obligation to the individuals present. Any further attempts to apply pressure, request financial support, or make insinuations under the pretense of family will be considered harassment. We will not hesitate to file charges. He paused, his gaze cutting like a blade. This room is under active video and audio surveillance. If false rumors or defamatory statements are spread following this meeting, especially those harming Mr. Adams's reputation or his company, we will pursue legal action for libel and intentional reputational damage. The room thickened with tension. No one dared interrupt. Mom's face flushed red. She snapped, "So, now that you've made it, you think you're above us? You ungrateful brat! Did you forget who gave birth to you?" James slammed the table. "You get a little money and turn your back on blood? You think you're better than us?" I tilted my head, calm, and turned to Mr. Bennett. "Verbal abuse and defamation on private footage. Would that hold up in court?" He nodded firmly. "More than enough." Their rage turned to confusion. Dad's face paled, Mom fell silent, and James looked down, speechless. No apologies, no regret. They stood quickly, rushing past Mr. Bennett like he was a wall they feared touching. The door closed with a quiet click. I didn't look back. This time, I wasn't the one walking away in silence. I was the one who ended it. Some might say I was cold, selfish, cruel for turning my back on family in their time of desperation. Why not set conditions, buy the house, give them a chance to make things right? From the outside, it looks simple. I have money, they don't, and I chose not to help. But what most don't see is this. In the 10 years I fought to survive, to rise from nothing, not one of them asked if I was okay. No texts, no calls, no words of encouragement. I built my life from zero, alone. Now, when I have something they need, they didn't come for me. They came for what I could give. This wasn't revenge, It was a choice to no longer be entangled. That, for me, is the greatest freedom I've earned. Family doesn't always mean love. Some relationships, if they cost your dignity and peace, are better left behind. You can forgive, but you're not obligated to carry their weight. You can be kind, but you don't have to be their lifeline. If you were in my shoes, would you help, hoping for change, or walk away, choosing yourself? Dear viewers, thank you for being here. Stay tuned to the channel for tons of exciting videos. Every day, we upload fresh stories packed with thrills and surprises. Don't miss out. Comment, share, subscribe, and hit that like button.